Right, let's go live then. There's a button. Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast. We are literally. Oh, hang on. I'm actually on the. Oh, here we go. There's all three of us here. So yeah, welcome back. It's a Halloween special. We're doing a bit of a kind of radio special on this one. We've got a very special guest with us, and that is the one and only Lewis, Ringway Manchester. How you doing, mate?
It's too hot under this mask. Let me take it off. How you doing? Okay.
Yeah, all good over here. Good to see you on here. And we got Charles obviously here, who normally hosts the podcast.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get starstruck at a few points. Like if I just start staring in my screen, it's because I've just got starstruck. Because Lewis is here.
Lewis's face.
You trust me, Lewis. You don't want to meet me in public.
I feel like I need a bit more smoke in here. Come on, let's just crank it up.
And wait for all the smoke alarms in the Kirby household to go off.
That's like interfering with my video stream. Do you see it? Just cut out then.
Yeah.
That is we're getting smoky now. That's it.
I nearly didn't make it tonight. I've actually got COVID, so.
Oh, stay away.
I've gone on about to you all week, Andy. I've not been well, so.
Yeah, no, you have actually. So
should we explain our Halloween costumes as well?
Yes, try and explain it.
I'm going to go. The only one that needs explaining is Andy's really in all this.
What we got? So Charles is obviously some sort of Squid Game. You're the Squid Game character. The red looks good. Got to say, that's pretty cool. Pretty neat. It's very red, isn't it?
Oh, my girlfriend's just texted me and said Moore gets the red room.
Mine was my last year's Halloween costume that I actually got for a party. I've just used literally the hat and thrown some sunglasses on. So I was the Mighty Boost Hitcher last year, and so that's my explain. And Lewis said I just looked like some sort of Alice Cooper ripoff from.
I didn't say Alice Cooper. I don't know if we can say what I actually said.
There is that, yeah. I don't know if my glasses are actually steaming up or if it's this smoke. I think it's probably this smoke in it.
It's getting thicker in that room.
Yeah, it's getting thicker, isn't it? Shame I haven't got any lasers. We should have got a Noxy man to give me some lasers.
Yeah, you should have actually.
That would be pretty cool. So today's about basically about radio, because me and Lewis have obviously got a lot of radio stuff in common. That's how we met on YouTube originally, wasn't it? So
yeah,
we're basically we're in it together, and that's why we're next to each other, and Charles is down the bottom. So Charles, do you want to start with
start on some simple questions for the both of you? What has been your best moment on radio? And we want to know all details, so we want to know sort of what band you're in.
Don't ask him that.
Why? I've got this. I'll just share this while we're here. I've got this is a file on everything Andy does on radio. It's the radio communications agency. It's a good arm of the government, and this is the file on
It's
Andy.
even got a photo of me, but it doesn't look like this.
Yeah,
it should.
That's my evidence file for everything on Andy. Andy, you can answer that one first if you want.
What best moment on radio? Oh, blimey! There's been too many. I think. The serious ones are obviously like, doing some like amazing contacts with just like very, very little power and just trying to do that. And that's what I'm always trying to do with radio. Just not have like a massive antenna and all that stuff. Just go pretty simple. But yeah, funny stuff on radio. And we've done quite a few experiments as well. Me and Lewis have done some funny experiments where we just like end up cracking up over the air. But yeah, it's like hush hush.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's when you get like when the sort of the stuff you don't expect to happen happens, like a really long range contact. And it, to anyone listening who's not familiar with radio, it might sound weird, but yeah, it's a bit of an achievement when you can send a signal at an obscure frequency and an obscure power level along such a long distance, and different modes, like sending pictures over radio and
Yeah, well, you've bumped into like people on YouTube as well, haven't you? Literally, like just fired up a radio. I remember a little while ago, you were talking on. We have these little kind of things, don't we? Where we might be in like in our own houses together, like in an evening, and we'll just be like doing a bit of radio together, and we'll have like a WhatsApp call going at the same time. We'll be like, listen to what I've just heard, like a couple of kids. Like it's quite funny that, isn't it? But yeah, I can remember like just hearing funny things pop up, and it's all good. It's all good.
Again, question for the both of you: what's your best contact you've made? Can you name their identifier code or tag? I don't know what it is. A tag?
What call sign?
Yeah, call sign. That's it.
Funnily enough, I just stuck on. I'm going to plug TikTok because that's what I've been doing for the last couple of days. It was Mike. Old Uncle Mike, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I can't remember his call. I don't know what his call sign. I can't remember what his call sign is.
Yeah, we did call him Ray the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
He must have worked in professional radio broadcast with.
He has got a broadcast voice, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, actually, isn't it? He just sounds so good. And I've obviously putting that out to TikTok, and it's a lot of people there. There is a bit of a ham radio following on there. It's surprising. There's a big ham radio hashtag on there, but there's also a lot of kind of people that just have no idea. Like, and you just see in the comments, they're just like, oh yeah, well, I might as well just pick up the phone and do that. And then you just get like, 10 comments underneath saying, yeah, you're not getting the point of this, mate, at all. Like, this is not, it's not how it works, and all that. So, yeah.
Where's the fun in being simple, eh?
Well,
yeah,
actually,
it's like
radio is a lot simpler.
For really long range contacts, like there's sort of different elements to radio. You've got like the HF side, which is sort of low frequency, and low frequencies tend to achieve greater distances. So you can
reading from his notes.
Yeah. I'm just reading. You can talk around the world, but for me, I'm a VHF and UHF guy, so to get a long range contact on those bands is quite impressive. I've done like Kent and Ireland and Holland on 2 meters, so VHF FM, which is like a good few hundred miles when you get tropospheric ducting, which is where the signal is sort of the VHF signal sort of it propagates fast. How would you explain?
They call it a lift, don't they? So it's like a lift.
Lift conditions. Yeah,
basically lift conditions where you're no longer really just focusing on trying to beam your signal down the horizon. It's your kind of invis, aren't you? So where it goes up and then it just gets refracted off of the ionosphere and comes down. See, VHF comes down not millions of miles, not hundreds of miles. It can do, but it's usually maybe like 50 to 100. So you're like, that's the real magical thing, isn't it? Because you're kind of like, well, like, am I actually making that on direct, or is it because of a lift? But then you start, if you've been doing it a while, you can kind of hear that it is actually like a lift. It's fascinating, really fascinating stuff. Yeah. But yeah, Lewis you're a VHF.
So this is like a VHF UHF radio. So I've made contacts on something like this into like Ireland, Kent.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, the Netherlands once, just on a handheld, on just a normal antenna, which is.
That's what I like about a lot of stuff you do, because it's like it's very simple kind of stuff, isn't it? You might just go somewhere high, and it's just amazing radio, and it's amazing to watch, because it's like he's just done what most people can't, because obviously you know where to go and what to do and who to call out for. And most of the time, it's like you have a lot of success with it. Some people just go get fed up and bored because they can't hear anyone, but that's the difference. With you kind of go and find it rather than just wait for it to come along.
You've got to persevere.
So that actually comes on nicely to our next question. What's your favourite bands, and why?
What's the one with Alex Cooper in it? Alex Cooper. He likes Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I was talking about.
I'll answer that while Andy's getting hair out of his mouth.
It's good. It was good. It's been a good night.
Yeah. they all have their own little characteristics. For me, I love the 4 meter band, so that is like 70 megahertz. That's nicknamed the Friendly Band. and it just attracts a different type of user, and it's something I'm trying to promote on my channel at the moment, and sort of get more and more people involved. And I think between sort of myself and a few other people around the country that are sort of pushing it on some of the Facebook groups, I think we're sort of starting to grow that. And PMR 446 is another really sort of a sub band. It's a sub band within sort of the region of 70 centimeters, 446 megahertz. So
yeah, Lewis has done an amazing thing up north with PMR 446, and that is just basically just get people on PMR 446, whether they've got a license or not. In fact, obviously you don't need a license to be on 446. It's better if you haven't actually, but you've done some crazy stuff where you've managed to have. How many people have been on one of your Sunday night net things?
I did the first net about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and we had 42 stations, but it's been up and down ever since. And the guys on the Facebook group do the net around Manchester now, and I know last Sunday they had like 52 stations on, so 52 people in the sort of bowl that is Manchester and the very, very sort of near surrounding areas. 52 stations, you never get that on any of the amateur bands, and it's great because it pushes people into getting the license, and they can sort of experiment with radio and decide whether they want to go further. So
I think it's fascinating that, and I just think that, I mean, for 15 quid or something, you can get like a little Retivis handheld, something like that. Yeah, exactly, something like that, or like one of these ones, like the little. I love this one, this little RB615. It's good. Only trouble is it's a bit loud.
We've all got radios to hand. It's hilarious.
Oh, you got one of my DMRs?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the new network radio over there as well. That's another topic. I've got one of these as well. This turned up today. Ooh, nice.
Is that an Anytone?
Yeah, the Anytone.
Kept that quiet.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna just save it for tonight. It's it's a wicked looking little radio. It's been out a little while now, hasn't it? It hasn't been out that long. I usually tend to try and get radios when they come out.
What is it? The 868?
Yeah, 868 UV2 plus 2 extra XL. Fucking
that comes nicely to my next question. I think I already know the answer to this for Andy, but I'm not sure for Lewis. What's your next radio purchase?
To me?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, to both of you.
To both of you. Lewis, go. I know what Lewis is going to
say. So I'm going to get the ICOM ID 52, which is the handheld. That next? Well, and I'm going to also get the ICOM 705 VHF and UHF QRP as well.
You need those.
Yeah, I was going to say, will you mod it like Andy's has?
Andy will mod that for me. He doesn't know it yet. it's no only pressure. Together. It's nearly $2,000, Andy. So there's no pressure.
Yeah. After what happened to your last one, not the 705, but the other hand, he took a soldering iron too. But anyway, it's a story for another day. But yeah. That's cool. I've been saying to him for a long time. He definitely needs to get the 705 because it's a great radio with for the UHF, for the VHF and UHF, and all the other bits in between. Obviously, HF as well, but he's more. You're more focused on VHF, UHF. For me, I've got both those radios, and I tell you what, there's some brilliant experiments you can do with both of them. Because of the data side as well. So you obviously both of them have got GPS and both of them will send like all the information backwards and forwards. So you can have both of them linked to an app. You can have them linked to the ICOM app, and then you can see the other one moving on the map on the other side. That's just mind blowing to me. I love that. But yeah, my next one's got to be the 905 when that comes out. But I haven't got a faintest clue what that's going to cost. Do you know what I found out as well the other day? As foundation license holders, so we've got the most basic license you can get in the UK. We can run 10. Huh?
You can't use certain SHF bands, can we?
We can use 10 gig at 1 watt.
Yeah.
But we can't. You can't use 2.4, and you can't use.
No. So 2.4 is 13 centimeters, isn't it? Yeah.
It's because I think it might be because it can fry your brain because it's that sort of frequency. Yeah. So
wouldn't that also mess with the whole street's Wi-Fi if you start playing with that as well?
Well, yeah, that might be a reason for it as well.
Yeah,
If Andy starts playing it with it, it will.
yeah. If I notice my speeds, go down, I'm just gonna be like, what is Andy doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I live, I live so close to him, Lewis. I can hear him start the TT.
Yeah. Surprise me, yeah.
He's not that. He's still a tricky one, right? Because you're not that close that we can't
No.
do simplex handheld to handheld inside the house.
These wouldn't
Don't
work,
work.
would they?
So what's
we
the
tried
distance
it.
between you both?
So
It's
it's
less than
half
a
a kilometre
Yeah.
flat, but there's a lot between us. There's a lot of like houses and big tall buildings.
There's a
Even
school as
we
well.
tried my license frequency as well, like the VHF section on business light frequencies. We tried UHF, but he can hear me if I put an antenna outside, obviously on the handband. But
You're a
can't
little
talk
bit
back.
higher up as well, Andy. You're sort of off the back of the main road. You're higher up, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm in one of the highest points for this town. The rest of the town is like in a dip. So the dip's like that, and I'm at the highest point. So you can see that's why you can see all the radio masts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've I mean, last night I think I just went onto a net on 2 meters and literally like I was end stopping every single station in that net, and there was one up in where was he? He was up by Lincolnshire somewhere, and he could hear me. Yeah. So it's pretty good. That's 10 watts as well, genuine 10 watts.
Yeah.
Not like not like some people. But yeah, it's Charles we're talking about here on PMR 446. Not really.
So, next question: what have you currently got set up at home?
Lewis.
So in the house, I just have an Icon 5100. So that's transceiver with this remote head. So that's my
Love
setup
that
in the
radio.
house. Believe it or not, I don't go on radio from home hardly ever. So that's the setup in the house, and there's a couple of scanners and handhelds, and then I've got a 17-foot by 9-foot sort of shed at the bottom of the garden. But it's those who've seen my channel, it's sort of like plasterboarded and painting. It's got lighting, internet, and everything, and that's got a CB radio in with an 18-foot silver rod, and it's got a VHF and UHF dual bander in there, which I can't remember the model of it, with a collinear on the roof, and then about 500 handhelds in there.
Yeah.
That's help.
He's got a lot of radios.
And that's
Actually, probably got
very easy by the sound
less
of it.
than you did have, haven't you? But he's got a lot. He has got a lot of radios. My setup at the moment, I've just started doing this in the background, so you can't really see it because of all the smoke and spiders and stuff. But I've got an FTDX10 HF and 4 meters. I've got the 705 as well, which pretty much that's the one that's on all the time. I mean, you don't really need another radio if you've really got that, but hey ho, I've got that. Obviously, a couple of handhelds. I've got a 7100 set up over there as well, and 991. But it's just excessive amount of radios really for what I do.
Never excessive.
Never excessive. and yeah, exactly. Like, and another one turns up today. It's funny.
So Charles, are you going to get your license then?
Andy keeps poking me where it really hurts. Like keeps poking me to do it.
You can do it online, so it's
Oh yeah, it's easy, and I think if you
When I
just
did
read
it-
the book,
Sorry, go on.
what were you gonna say?
I was going to say when I did mine, it was sort of 2004, 2003. So I didn't have any internet at home, so I listened on the radio to someone, and someone gave their address out. They were part of a club that did the licensing, and someone said, "Oh, can I have your address? I want to send you it might be the subs or something." So I wrote down the address and I wrote a letter and said, "I really want to get my radio license. Because I was dead shy at the time." And I went up to this nuclear bunker on top of this hill in Cheshire. So it's on top of this mountain that overlooks like the oil refinery in Liverpool, North Wales. It's an anti-aircraft bunker with 6-foot thick metal doors and stuff. And did the two-day course. Yeah, it was was it 2 weekends? I think that it was the Saturday
Really?
Sunday
Is it?
course.
Proper.
Yeah, and then went back the following Saturday to do the exam. The idea being that if you failed the exam on the Saturday, they'd give you another thing in. You do it again on the Sunday, and I passed luckily on the Saturday. So
It's
that,
amazing.
that was what it was like then. I had to drive all the way up there, and it was a bit more expensive, but now it's dead cheap and it's just online. So Charles, I'll be watching for this one.
Yeah, you've got to do it. And as
Yeah.
I said to you, just get that book. Do you know that book's like not even 10 quid now? I think it's like,
Yeah. I think
I
the whole
thought it was
course,
more than that, but
the Essex Ham course is like, I think it was 15 quid. It wasn't anything like.
yeah. To be fair, like it would be good to do the course, but you don't necessarily need to, because I think if you've got a mind for it and you're interested in it, you just read it. I think with the foundation, I just read that book, like, and made sure that every word went in. Just read like a couple of pages at a time, because it's not the technical stuff like necessarily that is the thing to remember. It's just all the anomalies, isn't it? Like the 100-kilometre rule around London and
Around
stuff like that.
Charing Cross,
Yeah, around Charing Cross and that. So it's that sort of stuff, and that's what gets me. And I've been reading the intermediate one as well, because I like the idea of doing the microwave stuff. But now I found out I can do 10 gig. I might not bother.
So the last question I've got on this sort of section, I'm going to move on after this. Have you ever eavesdropped on something and turned the radio off just due to the nature of what you've heard?
I've eavesdropped and pressed record. I've never turned anything off.
Yeah. Fumbling around trying to find an SD card.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I got into radio at a time when the police had just gone digital, well, starting to migrate to digital modes, when cordless phones were starting to die. I used to listen a lot to cordless phones, and I've got recordings of bits and pieces. That sounds really weird.
Yeah, but it's not, is it? There's a lot of us that do this stuff, and it's
yeah,
quite
private investigator stuff. Yeah, the only time I was ever cautious about anything to do with radio was when the Russia and Ukraine conflict started, and the online SDRs. You could hear everything.
That's concerning,
and
isn't
that
it?
that was sort of one of those people were recording stuff and putting it online, and they were going viral with it. But it's just so dangerous. It was something I never did.
Yeah, that's sort of stuff that can really ruin sanctions.
When you've got two really old stations talking about the foot creams and their the leg sores and stuff, that's when I tend to turn off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there are some interesting on the same thing. There are some interesting conversations going on, where most of them is when I get on a repeater and I start getting enthusiastic about stuff, and then it attracts a few people. But there's a lot of dribble, and there are some interesting things you can hear across the band. I'm probably not as prolific as knowing exactly where to look, because Lewis is like everything. And if I hear something, I'm like, what's that? And he's like, yeah, that's such and such radar or something coming from, he really knows his stuff. So it's good. But yeah.
I'm not sure if you two have seen it. I see a lot of the Russian, like there's buzzers like that have been going for years.
Oh yeah.
I see a lot of people have been taking those over and playing like Gangnam Style and like really memey songs.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game to play, because that station is a channel marker for a Russian number station, and that is common knowledge, and it would be very, very easy. A lot of people don't realise this, and I get into this argument with a lot of people in comments. It's very, very easy for the authorities, whether it be a licensing body for radio in a certain country, and especially the military. It's very, very easy to triangulate a signal.
Yeah,
like really, really easy. So jamming something like that is a very, very dangerous game to play.
Yeah,
There must be.
You don't actually. Go on. Sorry.
There must be satellites that can do that as well now.
Direction finding equipment can do it very, very easily. The problem is there's a lot of people jamming that signal now, and especially when the conflict first started.
It's just
you
like taking
what was actually jamming, because there was so much going over each other. But it's
that's the thing.
Yeah,
it is a dangerous. You're right. It's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, and it very rarely went off, and that buzzer stopped a couple of times in the last sort of 18 months. So funny.
Yeah, the SDR thing is the thing that worries me, because I've got nothing to worry about. But just that whole, the fact that you know that lots of spectrum in big chunks is being grabbed continuously and like, you know, across the country, across the world. So anything can be played back at any time. And it doesn't matter if it's digital, it doesn't matter if it's analog, it can be grabbed and potentially decoded again. So, you know, the evidence is there, whatever anyone's doing, or, you know, people jamming stuff, they could easily, if they wanted to, find out where that signal's coming from.
In England, Ofcom, and I'll explain it simpler. Basically, Ofcom, which for those who don't know is the spectrum management arm of the government. They can basically know it very well. Record hundreds of different frequencies in any area at multiple times. So when something reports, you know, a case of what is called harmful interference, that can be very, very easily listened back to, and it can also be very easily triangulated. The stuff that they have. Again, for anyone listening who wants to have a look at the DF systems and look at something called UMS. So Uniform Mike Sierra Ofcom. It's an amazing system for sort of keeping the airwaves clean.
It's interesting.
Me and Andy are very aware who Ofcom are.
So am I as well.
Yeah.
Have you actually been in the radio businesses?
Have you been in trouble at all?
I've not been in trouble. I had a knock on the door though earlier this year, which I don't really know if I can talk about. It wasn't actually about me. Probably should.
We can move on. But
if it's still ongoing, it's probably best not to talk about it.
Anything you want to know with Ofcom with Andy, it's all in here anyway. So. This is available in PDF format.
He's got notes. They'll probably come round to and like look in there.
Yeah.
Am I in there as well? Because I feel like I was part of that.
I'm just going to put a bit of you in there. I'm making notes tonight.
Only book that's about me.
You can have some of this hair for my DNA if you want. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, the root of it is radio is open and it's there, and it, you know, it can potentially cause problems for people if the wrong stuff, you know, comes to light, isn't it?
It's being utilised more and more. Like people think that radio is like a dated thing, but the spectrum is being utilised more and more all the time.
And as you know, obviously things like 5G and all these big like high data rates come, they need bigger chunks of it to like use, because it takes much more bandwidth to get all that data down, doesn't it?
You know,
it's the constant management of the current stuff. So like something like the 2012 Olympics, like the Commonwealth Games this year in Birmingham, the amount of work involved in the spectrum in and around Birmingham and all the related sites for like wireless links, you know, wireless cameras, microphones, scoring, timing, satellite. It's the work involved is crazy.
It is crazy. I can imagine how much work that requires.
Yeah, no one sees this half as well. No one sees it at all. Like, you know, people have the walkie-talkie and they just expect it to work, but there's a lot of work to get that walkie-talkie to them there.
The thing with me, sorry to interrupt, Charles. The thing with me is when people say like, why do Ofcom care about pirate radio, or why do Ofcom care if I don't get a license? But yeah, like I always say to people, there has to be rules within the way the spectrum's run, because if something's not right, it just you know, Andy, like what it's like with getting an Ofcom license. Everything is shoehorned in so as not to interfere with something else or cause an issue with this. And yeah, it's amazing.
It's like double yellow lines in a road.
Yeah,
like someone could park there and get a ticket, then they're not going to park there again. But then if, say, 10 cars started parking there, then there's going to be backup traffic. You know, exactly the same thing. You might also rage as well. You know, oh, my car's got a ticket. Why has this happened to me? It's because it's going to give people problems.
Yeah.
Time for some smoke.
Some smoke.
Shall we move on to the cold shoulder?
The cold shoulder is Charles's bit where he asks questions that we don't know yet
anything about.
He poses us questions. So
this one is a very, very, very obscure one. So I don't know if anyone remembers the old TV show Mythbusters from years and years and years ago.
No.
Now, what they did was, so Mythbusters was a
That's
show
that,
where
then.
they would. I'll explain this. It's quite simple. They pretty much would test the myth of something, like they shooting fish in a barrel. They done whether it's easy or not.
All right.
They done stuff. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but they did one where someone suggested you could cook a whole turkey with a ship's radar.
What frequency is radar? I don't know.
Radar
It's pretty
goes from
much,
all-
yeah, it's pretty much the same. The idea was it's pretty much the same as microwave, a microwave.
you know what? I don't know enough about radar. I don't know.
I mean,
They actually did really well with this episode. They actually got a ladder. They climbed up to the top of this ship where this radar was spinning round. It looked like the radars at airports. So it was just a spinning like tube, and they literally gaffer taped this whole turkey to this radar. Now, I was just wondering if you two would expect.
and all the
this
planes
to
started
work.
crashing.
Yeah. I mean, I may possibly embarrass myself with my lack of knowledge, but I don't think that's possible.
Andy?
I mean,
Not
I think
not in its actual form, not with a ship's radar.
no, I don't know. I think you're in multiple gigahertz before you're heating up water droplets. I think there's a frequency where water droplets resonate, at those high frequencies, and they basically heat up. And that's kind of what a microwave does, I think, isn't it? Really, it's just basically heating up.
I've got
Microwave
the
oven.
right up here, pretty much. The guy from the ship who was their radio specialist, they said there was not enough power there at all. And a
I wouldn't have thought
microwave,
there would be.
yeah, and a microwave as well is a very, very enclosed Faraday cage.
Yeah.
That's why they have the little perforated grill in front, so you can see in, but the waves can't get through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a Faraday
It's
cage.
surprising, actually. I mean, I've done some experiments with this, this cordless phone stuff that I've been messing around with. And actually, to try and attenuate a microwave signal, it's actually pretty difficult. Even if you take an antenna off and wrap the thing in foil and walk down the road, it's still getting a signal. It's nuts. I don't know quite how that works.
Can I just say something? You've sort of tied me in nicely to something that came through the door today, and this is a BT phone book.
Oh my God, look at that.
And it's the South Manchester edition.
That's a current one. That's a current one.
Yeah, 2022-23, and it's trade and residential.
How thick is it?
It's not as thick as it used to be, but how? I didn't even know phone books were a thing anymore. This came today.
It's the wrong
That's
colour
really
as well.
interesting.
It's yellow.
Yeah, and it's got residential in as well.
No way.
Yeah,
I've never seen. I haven't seen one of those for years. So, do you think maybe they're doing this? They're doing this now, like they're just actually
Trying to bring it
rolling out?
back. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
bring back
I thought
landlines.
they were phased out a long time ago. Yeah, that's it.
Did you look?
2022-23 South Manchester.
Did you look for
residential
yourself
phone book.
in that? Did you look?
I think I'm ex-directory.
Yeah. See, that's the first thing. Isn't that the first thing you do? You go look for yourself, or am I just
Talk
strange?
amongst yourselves. I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
Have a look. Ring, way.
No.
It's not in there. Yeah. Someone's, I think it's Billy Nell. It's 2.4 gig is the ideal frequency to cook meat, but you need a lot of power. Of course, yeah, because it's like 1,000 watts, and we don't kind of think anything of having a 1,000 watt microwave, but you put 1,000 watts into a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter, and suddenly you're like, well, hang on a minute, that's a bit dangerous.
You never thought about taking a microwave transformer apart at all, Andy?
I've watched quite a lot of that photo.
Yeah,
What's
he
his
loves
photo
doing that.
induction?
Photo induction. That does. We should do that one day at some point.
Don't. You'll end up killing yourself.
Yeah, I'm so like scared of anything like that. I'm the biggest baby when it comes to power, and I hate it. What's that?
I mean, when it comes to electronics, I'm a complete novice, so I wouldn't have a clue. I'm not technical from that point of view.
But yeah, it's I'm just with all the e-bike stuff. Some of those voltages knocking around, I'm just like, nah, it's not funny.
Leave it.
Not funny.
Do you want to do your TikTok bit now, Andy?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier. So anyone that's watching that is on TikTok, and who knows? It's one of those platforms, isn't it? That's kind of new. A lot of people are running into it, and it obviously has started with the kids. But funnily enough, there's quite a big ham radio following on there. I think ham radio hashtags have got, like in the hundreds of millions of entries. So it seems like quite a good place to start. Doing some stuff for ham radio, and I did a video. Actually, I put a video up of some of my endeavours on HF and making some stateside contacts, and one of them's up to nearly, well, last time I looked, it was about 800,000. So that could possibly hit 1 million on there. I've gone from about two subscribers or 2 followers to about 2,000 today. So yeah, quite buzzing about that. And it's just very different to YouTube, where sometimes you put some content out and you might get a little bit of engagement, and you just think, oh God, I've spent hours doing this video.
Once on this video and it's had no views.
I said no views, and you're like,
yeah,
what am I doing? It's just nice to get a bit of fresh meat on there. Sounds kind of wrong, but just interested people interested, looking at it and going, it's reaching people that otherwise wouldn't see radio videos, and that's what's not happening on YouTube. It's kind of just boxed all those people out, so you're not getting any new people coming along necessarily. Fascinated about helping.
Well, your audience through TikTok.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly, I mean, you're getting a few of the comments, might as well just pick up a phone and do that. But, then there's sort of 10 comments underneath saying, no, you don't understand the point of this. This is like direct. We're talking, from radio to radio, just using the radio waves. And more and more people are going to be more interested in this, I think, because I've seen in those comments of, a little kind of thing emerging where people are worried about communications, worried about the internet going down, worried about all this weird stuff happening. And who knows? So we'll see where that goes. So if you want to follow my Andy Kirby 6 over there, see you over there.
Can you imagine there's 5 other people called Andy Kirby on TikTok?
5? No, it's really more than that. I don't know. It goes. I was 6, and then there's 7, 8, 9, 10 as well. It goes up.
I was gonna register Andy Kirby 7 just to see.
You're like one of those annoying web people that buys all the domains.
Yeah.
And do propaganda against you on those TikTok accounts.
Yeah, that's quite funny. We got some good viewing numbers today here as well, so that's good. Nice to see everybody.
There was someone in the comments daring you to try and rip that phone book in half, Lewis.
No, this is going in the museum. Mm-hmm. No, you got no chance.
God, that's like. Nah.
There is a technique to it, because I did learn it in secondary school. It's not all about strength; it is just about technique.
Don't ruin it. Plus, I'm not strong enough.
Yeah. Shall we move over to my other subject?
Go on then.
So this is what would be the best radio for the job. So I've got 4 scenarios here. I know, sorry, 3 scenarios. I couldn't think of any others that you would need a radio for, which I feel like is a poor effort, but hey ho. So we've got a large primary school. We have roaming staff. So you've got IT, the senior management team, or caretakers. They may be required sort of short notice, so the staff may be required to help out. There's a block on the school for 3, 4, and 5G, stopping the students from sort of using their phones. So what radio system would you recommend for that scenario?
Just use within that site?
Yeah.
For the staff?
Yeah, for staff, for certain members of staff.
For a school, I would say something like PMR 446.
Yeah.
It depends, because there's a million and one ways of looking at it. If it was just for general communications, 446 would be perfect. If it was anything to do with students' information, anything that's private, then something like this over Wi-Fi would be the ideal option, because this is completely secure.
Yeah, sort of like a network radio thing over Wi-Fi. But funnily enough, actually, talking about that, I saw an app actually on the Play Store for Android, and it was somebody had made a Bluetooth basically a Bluetooth app to allow chat. So it's like a pretty much carbon copy of like WhatsApp, but for Bluetooth. It's very like good. You can send pictures. You can send, so you can have a complete Bluetooth chat. You have to be paired with the other people, but they basically said like if you're in lectures or you're in places where there's no cell coverage, you can literally talk for like a couple of 100 meters. And we all know Bluetooth actually does go quite a long way. Was that mesh? Yeah, I mean that would be taking it another step further. Like if you had 10 people in an area and they're all connected to that same thing. I don't know if Bluetooth really supports mesh, but to relay,
I'm sure I reviewed something that was Bluetooth, where you connected your phones to them. They talked to each other over Bluetooth, and you could message phone to phone through an app. I'm sure it was Bluetooth.
I remember
that. I like that sort of thing because we obviously haven't got in the current sort of type of mobile in the current system of mobile communications like phones. You can't put your phone in a direct mode. There's no way of having a direct mode. If there was a direct mode, the phones themselves could create their own network because you're never going to be more than a meter away from someone with a phone, are you really? So it could potentially just...
what the police use is like that. So they've got they can make calls, but they have DMO mode through what is basically
Tetra DMO.
Yeah.
That's what it is, isn't it?
One of my relations is a Bobby up in Manchester actually, and she was telling me stories about when they use they call it, the official thing is a Tetra call.
Tetra call.
That's what they refer to as if they were talking.
That
range in DMO in Tetra is terrible. You're talking a couple of 100 meters if you're lucky. Yeah, it's awful.
Okay, so it's probably similar to if like LTE would go direct, it'd probably be terrible. Like if 4G would talk, but that is a thing, isn't it? If your infrastructure and everything goes down, it'd be quite cool to think that you could still phone someone down the road or talk to someone, but you can't. It doesn't work like that.
No.
There's a donation coming as well from your MTech garage friend.
Yeah, he keeps buying me coffees.
Yeah, he keeps flashing the cash. Like, right. So our next scenario: Farmer Clarkson has 4 tractors and 2 combine harvesters. During when the crop is harvested, all members of staff need to be in contact to know where to put the crop. Knowing when the combine is full and the tractor needs to come by to empty out. The farm is 1,000 acres and they need contact of all corners of the farm.
Does it have a mountain in the middle of it?
It's all flat. We're going to keep it very simple.
1,000 acres isn't that. So 1,000 acres, you're sort of talking at probably about the size of a sort of an average sized. So like RAF Mildenhall in Suffolk, that's like 1,300 acres. So you're looking at
I am going to Google the average size of a farm because I don't know any acreage.
Well, I mean, to be something like that in an urban, in a rural area, and if there's sort of trees and things like that, something like CB would be good. And farmers famously
use CB, yeah.
Or low band VHF, so around 70. I can't remember the frequencies, but between 66 and 88 megahertz.
Yeah. Something like that would be good because obviously
what a lot of them used to use as well. A lot of farmers used to use the DTI back in the 80s and 90s. They released 2 frequencies for higher powered cordless phones. So they would use they were 44 and 77 megs, something like that. And a lot of them were buying illegal ones, which had 100-watt amplifiers attached to them. So they would have coverage around the farm and beyond with numerous handsets to one base station with an amp on. So yeah, I think I would say, Andy, I don't know about you, I'd say CB or low band VHF.
Yeah, that would be a good one. And that, of course, the low band VHF, you can get a license for 70 quid or something for 5 years. So
the forestry service used to use low band VHF.
I've not tried that actually. I have got capability to do it with handhelds because obviously you can't use mobiles or base stations on the PMR license. But it'd be interesting to see. The only issue with handhelds is it's generally not a good idea, is it? Because you unless you have an antenna that is probably about that long, it's gonna not really going to work that well, as we found.
Helical antenna on something of that frequency is terrible. They come with an antenna that big, which is you may as well throw it in the bin. And it's not the manufacturer's fault. It's the only thing without buying an aftermarket antenna.
Yeah, it's not practical to have something massive, isn't it?
You've got a free power source with the tractor and the truck, so you could quite easily put something in, couldn't you?
CB, yeah. I mean, even say 446, but there's that new well, it's not new, is it? That Midland 446 with the detachable antenna. You know, that sort of thing could work as well. But I think you know, what we're saying is low band mobile would probably work better.
Our last scenario.
Yeah.
A medium-sized company of trucks to operate inside the M25 and on the M25. They sell concrete, all sorts of material. They need different channels, as truck-to-truck communication might be needed. Yard vehicles to trucks might be needed. Management, so staff inside the office may need to speak to trucks. That's pretty much it.
Anywhere in the M25?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's tough, that. That's a tough call, isn't it? I mean, network radios.
You'd have to put a
repeater,
quite a high-powered DMR repeater up on top of a tower block or an office block, but it would be very expensive to do. You could do it. You could achieve coverage of the M25 easily with a decent power, sort of a 70, maybe 100-watt repeater, but it'd have to be very high up. But I think, like you said, Andy, network radio would probably be the best. But depends whether there's complete coverage around the M25, especially in certain areas where there's a lot of buildings and stuff.
That's the thing. You're talking about like network. Well, you might be able to do it with one repeater, like you say. If you had a repeater like in sort of Orpington or something, or like in a high place in, on the outskirts of the within the M25, you probably would get it. Like is it GB7NS, the repeater in London? I can hit that from here, and that is 20, 30 miles away. I can hit that in here with a handheld. Just with one of these, like,
repeater up Crystal Palace or Alexandra Palace, and I mean, a lot of pirate stations you'd reach beyond the M25. So I think if you had a repeater up, sort of like maybe like Blackheath or Hampstead Heath or Alexandra or Crystal Palace, I think you'd do it.
Yeah, definitely. So those are the scenarios.
Yeah, that was good. That Charles, I like that.
Yeah, we'd have to do a two-part at some point. All right, I've got 3 things left, but I reckon I've only got time for one. So it's either we talk about Starlink from our Lord and Saviour Elon Musk. We can either talk about this secret project you two are working on, or there is go for it.
Do I need this?
You're going to get in trouble having that book at some point.
Yeah.
So, me and Lewis have got a little venture coming up. I'm not going to say too much about it, but, watch this space on that. We've been doing radio for a lot of years. So, we've sort of joined forces to expand things out a little bit. Isn't that right, Lewis?
Yeah.
So... Yeah, that's it. That's all you're getting.
Pretty much. They're being exactly the same with me. I know nothing about this.
Well, I mean, we can say what we've already done. You did. So talk through what you did in your video.
My video. What video?
Are we talking about the same thing?
I don't know.
The DTR stuff.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, we're not. We can talk about that if you want.
What's the other thing then?
Yeah, here we go. It's been cool now.
Yeah.
Our little venture, our little joint venture. You know the thing.
Radio related. Right, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Oh, right, yeah.
Remember. It's been working on this for the last couple of days.
I was thinking something else. Yeah, sorry.
I could just see the little light in Lewis's head. Like, what am I doing? What's going on? Who are these people?
But the DTR thing, you've smashed me on that last one. And I'll tell you something. I did actually go out at the beginning of the week trying to do a better urban test with these DTR radios. It's really difficult. Yeah. So see how you get on.
Are we going to put our plan into
using
motion?
these? Sorry, Charles, go on.
Are we going to put our plan into motion, Andy? We've got a location, haven't we?
We have actually been talking about this. Yeah. So,
It's okay, because I'm gonna beat you every time. So it's fine. I'm telling you now, I will beat you every time.
Every step of the way.
I feel like when one of the three of us gets to Mars, then we've pushed it too far.
Yeah. So we've been competed with 2.4 gig radios, which are making a contact at anything over a kilometre is quite commendable because they have quite a small vertical antenna. The frequency is very high, and they're a digital mode as well. So so you managed just over a mile, didn't you? I managed just under 2, and I came with the big guns, but didn't need them, so that'll come further down the line. But yeah, I will beat both of you every time. I'm telling you now.
We'll be doing moon bounce.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's it's tricky. It is tricky. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. If we do line of sight, I think we'll be back in the game. But it's hard around here to do line of sight unless we start travelling because it's just flat and it's flatlands around here.
Well,
so
it's not. It's all quite hilly, isn't it? You go out to where you start going up.
It'll make you believe that that Essex and Hertford is just a complete flat, like a car park, and it's not.
It is so not. Like I've rode a bike around here for years. Like I know about those hills.
Yeah. I want to see him. I want to see him with a parabolic dish at the top of the mast at Buntingford.
Huntingford's
yeah. I want to see him. I want to see him up there, and I want to see you, Charles, on like Crystal Palace with another dish. I want to see the contact made.
You
can do that because from places like Buntingford and Epping Green transmitter. You can actually see London. You've got visual line of sight into the city.
If we go into
that's a good one.
Zoo.
A good place.
There's a zoo called Paradise Wildlife Park, and from their like auxiliary car park, so their overflow car park, you can actually see London.
See the skyline, can't you?
Yeah.
So I want to see one of you there, and the other one at like Canary Wharf.
That would be really epic. That would be really epic to do.
The Shard. The Shard.
Yeah.
The Shard. See, I went up in the Shard quite a while ago, and I did actually take a radio, and I wasn't that impressed with what I couldn't seem to get that far. But
glass and metal.
You've done the same, haven't you?
Stuff like that.
You've done the same in Blackpool Tower, haven't you, Lewis?
Yeah. You see, I made the mistake with Blackpool. I mean, I did a video and I was sort of a bit naive because I took a Bofang up there. And everyone's like, oh, if you'd have took a Yaesu up there, you wouldn't have the same problem. But you would. There's a lot of high power transmitting stuff from sort of all different bands up there.
That was overloaded, was it? Yeah.
It would overload the receiver on the best of handhelds, an Icom or a Yaesu. And we tried. So everyone was like saying, oh, there's people coming back to you, but we obviously couldn't hear any of them.
I see. So it's the interference, the noise floor.
Just overload to receive. Your signal get out as normal, but the receive was just completely shot.
I think as well, it's a lot of. Were you weren't outside, were you? So were you doing it inside the window?
We were on the top deck of the tower, and there's a mesh. Right. People said, "Oh, it's wire, but it's just rope." So we drove an hour, paid about 20 quid to get up there. It was freezing, all for nothing. But it was still a laugh. I still got a video out of it.
When I was last up there, I did feel like I was in the Arctic Circle. It's so. I'm pretty sure my sister nearly blew away at one point as well. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
I would talk about the bits and pieces I've got, but I think there is quite a few questions that people want to ask. So if you want to get your radio question in, guys and girls, now's the time.
I'm just looking through the thing.
Do the shard to the Blackpool Tower.
Yeah.
Blame the COVID. Who's that?
Blame the COVID, Lewis. Yeah, Lewis does have COVID at the moment.
Yeah.
Greetings, Harold Anderson.
Did you? So someone's asked, did you stand on the see-through glass floor? I did with no problem. I wanted to do a handstand on it, but I can't do a handstand.
Yeah, I stood on the glass floor.
Did you see the neon? Have they still got the neon on there? Like the bloke that's been cut out of the roof.
Yeah.
It was like, oops. I think it's oops.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's yeah. It's like Blackpool's one of those places, and that every time I go in there, I don't know why I'm there. You just always end up back there.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? Shard is a Faraday cage. Probably. It probably is, yeah. I didn't seem to hear much. I set a radio up at home as well, just recording on a frequency just to see if, it would make it, because it's probably like 30 miles away, but you never know. Does anyone use 934 megahertz CB these days? If you do, don't admit it on here.
But yeah, they do. There's quite a few that still use
Is
it.
there really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There was 2 stations in Manchester using it up until a couple of years ago, and I see bits on the group. There are people that use it, but it's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
The equipment is so expensive as well, because I don't know why.
Is that not a CB frequency now?
No, so that was basically.
It was
they offered, I can't remember the frequency. They offered something around 920 instead of FM, was it, Andy? And then 934 was offered as like an additional thing, but it was mainly used by experimenters who people actually had G9 test and develop. So like the call signs, like for amateur radio, like G1, G0, G3, G4, they actually had a G9 experimental call. It's called a T&D, test and development license, for 934 meg CB, but it never really took off, and the mobile networks came about, and it was withdrawn.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because things like that, obviously Ofcom, they want to know how things work in practice, and it's quite an interesting kind of thing if they're getting feedback, because the theory is obviously how radio works. We know that some frequencies are better than others, but they've all got different characteristics, and you don't really know that until you really, really play with it and see. And that's why when you speak to any radio amateur, like they'll tell you something that you probably wouldn't know. You always get in a conversation, don't you? And it's like, well, they'll tell you something that they found out that potentially you might not know, and it's always ever evolving. Again, go back to that TikTok thing. Somebody I'd put in there, I'd said, I'm testing out a new setup, and someone would put in the comments, you test it out, and then what are you going to do another test, yawn, like that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, basically, because that's what the hobby's about. It's like literally just everything is just one great big test. And that's what makes it just fascinating. Is to us, isn't it? I mean,
find ways to transmit your voice. Do you remember those little like handheld computer things from the 90s called Cyberco?
Cyberco, no. What was it?
CYBIKO. And they would transmit text messages across RF for somewhere around 800 or 900 megahertz.
I love that.
And I had a pair, and I can't find them for the life of me. I wanted to do a video and look on the SDR at them actually transmitting. It's milliwatts, probably 5 milliwatts.
Be fine, wouldn't it?
In the same room, 10 milliwatts maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, really, really interesting, that stuff. Do you know that whole thing has kind of become a bit full circle as well? Have you seen that Flipper, the new SDR device? It's like it looks like they've made it look like a Tamagotchi gadget, from back.
Yeah, it can read, like it can do like a lot of stuff. Like they've got.
It's crazy what it does.
Yeah, it's got like TV, so you could walk into like a TV shop and just push one button and turn the TVs off.
Yeah, like it's got an infrared. It's got an infrared IR transmitter and receiver.
It's got
a 433 megahertz and 800 megahertz. Some gigahertz stuff. It can do Wi-Fi as well. 2.4. I think it can do. Don't know if it does the 5 gig Wi-Fi.
You can break into doors and stuff as well, like the RFID doors.
Yeah, it's like
got all the generic.
Like a hack RF. It's like a hack RF, but kind of there's more. There's more stuff going on. There's people like on YouTube, Instagram, just pushing a button on this flipper, and all of the Tesla battery doors are all opening, like all the way down the street. Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant.
The trouble these devices.
But it all depends how you use it, isn't it?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I've got this horrible.
You're experimenting with your own stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got Billy No Mates, who's quite an avid follower, isn't he? Ringway, have you ever used a U-loop mag-loop antenna? If so, what do you think of it? I have one. The frequency coverage is amazing, 0 to 20 megahertz.
What's it called? U-loop.
Yeah, so it's as in U-loop.
U-loop
antenna.
No.
I've not
The
used
only-
that one. I've got the Wonder Loop,
Yeah.
the small one, which is there with that spider on in the background, and that is the only antenna that I use most of the time. It
What's
is
the other one you've got?
flipping
What's the big one you've
amazing.
got? You use
What's that? The
the
bigger
bigger
one.
mag loop.
This is the only loop I've ever used.
Nice.
That looks
What's
like
that one?
that looks like something from Doctor Who. That does.
So this
Is that the one that you had to
2.0
test?
ERO loop.
Was that the one you used with the 705 when you had the test sample? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are good. So yeah, Billy No, it's probably the same sort of thing. My one's a Wonder Wands one from Cole, who does Wonder stuff. I've blown my capacitor in mine twice. Sometimes if you put 10 watts into it, and it can handle 10 watts, but if you've got a peak like on SSB, if you've got one of the peaks will go up above that, you can just completely burn it in that frequency. So when you come back to that frequency, it won't tune.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird. And I said to him, can you find me a capacitor that, out of all of your capacitors you got, because they're all different. He said, I'll test some of them. But he said, I can try and find you one of the better ones. He sent me a couple through and you just solder them back on the board and off you go again. But that you can stand. I can stand in here. I can literally just have that out where it is and just talk to, all around Europe just on that. It's unreal.
Are you?
Yeah, you'll send me like a video where you'll be sat outside in the summer, sat outside having breakfast with the 705 in the loop and picking up like a Lithuanian station on 40 meters. It's like
it's crazy. And the best thing about it is the higher you get, the more efficient it is. So if you try and use it on 40 meters, it's not really going to happen. But as you get up to, actually, I've even used it on 6 meters for 50 megahertz. It's absolutely brilliant on that. Like it goes miles. But I can fire up, put that on the back of a CB, and I can join in the local net with like Fred and that. Like, absolutely fine. It's they do it. They say I'm a little bit like weak, but that's the point of radio, isn't it?
You've got to give a shout out to Fred in the Shed while you're
we have to.
Yeah.
Big
Fred
shout out
in
to
the
Fred.
Shed, what a guy, yeah. I've got one of his. He did a video last night testing, I think, a 446 set, which I need to watch. So
I have to have a look.
Can I shout out a radio-related YouTuber, DX Commander? I quite like his content.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Why is it gone quiet?
I thought there was more. I thought you were going to say more about more. Yeah, see, Callum, he lost his channel, didn't he? So he's sort of like come back with another one, and he does a lot of stuff on like the HF side of things. That's his sort of business. It's quite interesting stuff.
He's good. Does good practical stuff on radio, which is really good. Like just slinging antennas up and things like that. He makes the what's it called? Oh, sorry, I just saw a comment. Who's the special guest? I mean, isn't it obvious?
He's even come dressed as himself. Like me and Andy have done Halloween costumes.
Yeah, I did have one. I should have made more effort actually.
I've had to stand and change all my bulbs, Lewis.
Say that again.
I've had to change all my bulbs.
Yeah, let me.
It's good that.
So go on then.
Does it create a load of interference?
Probably. A little battery pack like hums as well.
Does it? It's good that. It is good. I do like that.
Should we say 3 more questions?
I thought it was still smoky in here. It's my glasses. Yeah, a few more questions then, because we're.
Should we have the magic question smoke on as well?
Magic question smoke, and here he goes. Actually, I think I've run out of smoke stuff. Smoke juice. Oh no! Here it comes. Here it comes.
Here we go.
The gate isn't sensitive enough.
It's not sensitive. Can you not hear
Smoke.
it?
That smoke out of the amplifier he's got on that 705.
Right, I've been telling him he's running too much power.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Any radio related questions, guys, in chat?
Be respect
10,
my favourite channel.
10 Andy Kirby watts. He's very different.
10 to the power of 10 Andy Kirby watts.
I've just got an image. I've just got an image of that. Like the first scene in Back to the Future where he turns up all the amps. That's Andy on his radio. Yeah.
Oh, tech tinkering.
As soon as he keys up, he gets blown across the room.
Always fiddling around. Always fiddling around. So yeah, always sending you stuff. And
Any questions, guys?
Any questions?
Are we all questioned out?
Big respect to my favourite radio channel, Ringway. Yeah, do a good job, mate. You do a really good job on the videos, Lewis.
Cheers, mate. You too.
Thanks, matey.
What's your best eBay buy, Andy?
My best eBay buy.
That's a question, actually.
I got a direction finding kit with all the antennas in the receive box.
Yeah.
They were I think they were like, I can't remember how much they were. I got that for a real bargain. I've yet to feature.
Probably a 1,000-watt broadcast transmitter from Poland. And I'm just joking.
No, you're not. Just say it again. Let me just.
Yeah.
I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious at all. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there, isn't there? A lot of stuff. I think probably no. I haven't
There's no bargains on eBay anymore because everyone overprices everything.
Oh, 100%. No. It is literally like virtual cash converters now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy to sell anything on there either as well. Just get scammed.
What's your favourite cheese? That is a question that's seriously coming. I'm going to go with smoked applewood cheddar personally.
So that is Hamilton. So he's a friend of mine from up here. He gets involved in the 446 net, and that is a reference to Alan Partridge in series 1 of I'm Alan Partridge when he says, "Smell my cheese."
My best Alan Partridge joke is the whole Dan.
Yeah, I love Alan Partridge.
Dan. Just goes on
for
about
e-bites?
8 minutes.
How many e-bites do you have? All right, at this minute, how many bites have I got?
How many warehouses is it, Andy?
1, 2.
I reckon he's in the 20. What's your bet, Lewis? I'm thinking about 23 personally.
Nah, it's not
12. 12.
I think it's about 10. I think.
Yeah. It's a sore subject for me because we went round London playing with radio, and he had like this amazing bike with a big battery on it, and he gave me this child's like a bike that one little bikes that a clown would ride at a circus, very small. Which ran out. It
ran out, didn't it?
It wasn't even.
It ran out. It was halfway around our trip of London, so it ran out. We got from Liverpool Lime Street across to basically City Airport, and it gave up, didn't it? And e-bikes like that, you can't just pedal them like a normal bike. It's like pedaling in first gear with the brakes on. So we were driving back. We were going back through Hertford, and he's like pulling me on his bike, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
What bikes was it, Andy?
So he had like a little Fido. God, I can't remember. D30. It's got little wheels, tiny little wheels like that. And I thought, they'd be good because it's small. It can be taken on the train.
It's the way, Charles. We were in the flat with all the bikes there. And I'm looking at all these massive e-bikes. And he's like, "Oh, this one's yours." I was like,
It wouldn't have been so bad about that e-bike. It's just he had a Bluetooth speaker playing Benny Hill all the way around London.
Yeah. It just felt deliberate, but
there's a great comment coming in. Andy, put the huge 11 meter antenna on the Twizy. It'll look like a large electrical car.
Oh, that would be funny, wouldn't it? I should do that.
I still remember that
little flag on the top as well. Huh?
I remember that stream where you put your PA system in the back of the Twizy.
Oh yeah, I went to that old disused airfield, I think it was. Cranked it up. That's funny.
Brings it up to 11. Shall we say one more good question?
Yeah, one more good question.
With that day you had the PA in the system, did you drive to there with the PA system on?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, you did. You streamed it as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
it. I was doing things I do sometimes. I just think, what
How
am I
many
doing?
looks did you get? Like, why is this guy in a remote control car driving around Harlow
It was
with
banging.
a PA system
Like
in the back, playing some
1,000-watt
random
flipping
playing some random house.
130
Yeah.
dB SPL speaker in the back.
Come on, guys. One last question. It's got to be radio related as well. We're not doing e-bike questions tonight, unfortunately.
Just look at the camera and say, now then, now then.
Now then.
There you go.
Yeah, do deny. Look, close up now.
Say that's going straight to the hospice.
Yeah, look, that's pretty eerie, isn't it? Yeah, turn it off. Right, so what else we got then? Do a trip to Dunstable Downs. Look! That's all right.
Yeah.
So what was this? What was this video with the PA thing? Because I've never even seen this one.
You've not
It was
seen
a
it? I stuck a
live,
PA
like,
speaker
2
in the
years
back of the
ago.
Twizy.
Yeah. It's like a live he'd done. I think it was just as COVID started.
Again.
Like when you did like a DJ set.
No.
No, it was. I just had a speaker in the back of the Twizy, and I just played it really, really loud.
He used the PA. He used the one of the battery banks he's got.
Yeah, big battery bank to power 1,000-watt speaker.
I'm on your hands, mate.
Eh?
You've got too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
You have now.
Yeah.
The 10 watts into the input of the linear. I think that might have been referring to the 705. No, we've got no naughty linears. We're all clean. All clean here.
No burners here.
No burners. So yeah, I don't know if have you got any questions on Discord, because I can't see you.
I don't think Discord has been very quiet this evening.
Okay, that's not to be worried about.
Shall we
Good.
start
Should we
doing
wrap
our
it up?
73s?
See what?
Give our 73s?
Give us 73s. I love the way Charles is getting with the lingo.
Yeah, he's going to be doing his foundation license very, very soon.
Andy always says that I've got like a James Bond voice when I jump on radio.
Do I?
Yeah, it was like cabin. I think it was a aircraft a pilot.
Okay. I don't know. No, you sound like you should be on radio. You got one of those like kind of, those voices. Running that Renault for solar is genius. Oh, we're talking about. I've done a video about that, haven't I? I ran that Twizy off of like two or three solar panels.
You've got some plans in the future for that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got one of these little charge controllers around here somewhere to wire up to that. But yeah,
that's
okay.
That's a good comment there, Andy. You should have a phone, and you should do a phone-in show. You should do it on pirate radio.
Oh my god, can you imagine it? Do you know what I thought would be good to do? I had this wild idea in the week, and Charles was like, "No, got to keep it simple." About putting this out on 446, like as in the podcast going out, but it would be us talking to each other. Maybe not. I don't know if it worked three ways, but you'd have to. Charles has a radio, I have a radio, basically, and it would just go backwards and forwards. But
like rig them up with Vox and stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that like there must be a way to automatically key up and just play like an MP3 or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if you allow. Are you allowed to do that?
You can't broadcast on 446.
No, like any radio service, you're not allowed to broadcast, are you? So yeah, you could have a conversation, but it would be technically having a conversation. Anyway,
just set up Andy Kirby FM 88.9 on the dial. Don't do that. That was a joke.
Don't do that. Yeah,
you could have a Rise on repeat, like 10-hour, do a 10-hour edit and just play that constantly.
Yeah.
Dear. If you have
You
your
could.
AC.
It would be amazing with the new icon to do this on amateur television.
Wow. Can you
But you'd have
broadcast
to-
though? Can you do that
Probably
on?
You'd only be able to have one person because you're on point to point. So
Yeah.
We'd have to all come together.
That's pretty mad though. That because that Hack RF does digital TV. If you've got if you set up like a proper GNU radio stack on like Linux, you can broadcast like DVB-T. Is it DVB-T? Basically what a Freeview TV is. You can pick up an actual TV station. There's stuff on YouTube where people are streaming their screen from their computer onto a Freeview TV behind them. I mean, you're not supposed to broadcast, but I think you're allowed to do it if you had a cable from one to the other and just run it on like hardly any milliwatts, like just turn the power right down. Because that's how an RF modulator works, isn't it? It's just literally on there, but I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
Right, guys, I think we're going to start wrapping this up now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start wrapping this hair up as well.
Get the Helen to do a few bits and pieces with it.
It's getting on right on my nose, this is. Right.
it looks like Helen's hair.
She'll
tell
be
us
up in a minute.
that.
She's probably watching downstairs.
Yeah.
No, she's probably not watching. She's probably watching Love Island or something.
Yeah. She'll message me in a minute.
Yeah, Andy's being cheeky.
Wiggly, I do have a YouTube channel. I'll post it right here.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie's YouTube channel.
Yeah. It's my official name. I can't run away from it.
Your channel. You haven't posted it.
No, I've got. There's a video of you on there actually.
Is there?
Yeah, you're
that's
trying
weird.
to find that drone. I did actually mention Ringway in that video as well.
Oh, you're trying to get views.
I said he was a better pilot than yourself. While you're trying to get your drone out of nettles and like I think it was brambles as well.
Yeah. As
When I
always.
found you
Believe
that day.
that.
Yeah. It happens daily. Right, guys. Okay, yeah. So thanks for the Lewis for coming. If you want to see more of him, let us know. We can get him on the podcast. He might not want to, but anyway.
I'll always come on.
It's been good. It's nice to.
I think
nice to
everyone
catch
wishes
up.
you. I think
Go and
everyone
check
wishes
out-
you.
What's that?
I think everyone wishes you sort of good health with your COVID as well. You know,
Yeah,
there's like a lot
get
of it
better.
going around at the moment.
Get better soon.
We've Andy, we're actually going to be collabing in November, aren't we? Hopefully as well.
We've got something planned. We've got a meet up planned, haven't we? So we've got a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to get through. Last time we met up, it was it's pretty full on, wasn't it? Up in a plane.
The first. Sorry, I know you want to wrap up. It wasn't the. So actually the first time I come down to meet you, you were like, oh, you can stay over if you want. I said, no, it's fine. I'll drive. It's like 2 hours 50 minutes. That's what Google Maps tells you. With traffic, it took me like 4 hours to get down there, and then. So that was the first time, and then I went back the same night, didn't I? So we were like, got a kebab, we were in the hot tub having a couple of beers, and like it was getting later and later. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go. It was about 8:30 when I left. So second time, like, you can stay if you want. I said, no, it's all right, I won't. And then we just did that much stuff. I said, Andy, I said, I'm gonna have to stay. There's no way I can drive home.
It's silly, really, because it's such a long way just to do both ways in a day, and like we never get enough done in a day. So it's
I remember Andy did say that you actually sleep on the floor of the room where Andy's in.
Yeah, on the floor there. But I mean, he's got that much stuff in there, and I don't know if there's any space, and I don't know if that's a hint.
There's a hole in that. See that cabinet? There's a hole underneath the bottom, which so you can put your head in. I've got like some serene music playing, kind of pumping out in speakers in there.
There is a spare room here, which isn't as much clutter as Andy's got. So
that's an option then.
That's an offer. not an option. Right, guys, on that note, go and check out Lewis's channel, Ringway Manchester, if you don't already. Most of the people here are probably from your channel anyway, so that's good.
Hopefully.
And hope you've enjoyed this one. Go follow me on TikTok as well. I'll try and plug that even more.
Yeah,
and we'll be back next week we'll resume. It won't be this week, and we'll just get up and this stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome, Ringway.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
7 freeze.
Bye.
Bye. End.
Oh,
Stream finished. Yeah, I'm